Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, P Funk, thinking right out here in my lab, and I'm in the Egyptian Yoga Part 2. We're dealing with the three consciousness, three states of consciousness, aka Amun, Ra, Ptah. Let's go. This is going to be fun. Good lesson. Let's go. Right isn't 25 rules to live by. Storytelling. Story with a message. There's always a message in my stories for life. I give life lessons. You tune in and receive them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinking's way of life through mental spiritual discipline practice daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of reaching spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal is to know thyself. See where we're going with this? Let's get there together. So I asked the question, do you know you? You women on the room, that's what I do for you. It's rhetorical, but if you don't have the answer for yourself, tune in. I got you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. Don't be them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple, but you can teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. I appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous, avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers know thyself and to my yard be true. We're gonna talk about the three stages P-Funk's philosophy on. We're gonna break down the three stages of consciousness, aka Amun, Ra, Ptah. Three states of consciousness. I'll break that down for you. Let's start with Amun, which is the self, is the hidden essence of all things. The sun, which is Ra, is the radiant and dynamic outward appearance of the hidden made manifest. That's why that's the son of Ra, son of God. Amun, the God, Ra is the son of him. Also, the light of cosmic consciousness. So the cosmic mind of that through which consciousness projects in this aspect is Ptah. He represents the physical world, the final part, the solidification or coagulation of the projection of the consciousness from Amun made manifest. These manifestations are reproduced symbolically on earth in the cities of Kemet, y'all call it Egypt now, Waset, still called Waset, some call it Thebes, and Nu, which Greek called Thebes, excuse me. But Waset was named Thebes by the Greeks, who knew it also as Diopolis, which means the heavenly city. Thebes is the city identified in the Old Testament, in the Christian Bible, as the what? They call it the No City or No Amun, Amon. The city of Amun. Anu, that's the city of Ra, okay? And Hetkapata, that's the city of Ptah. So everyone in God, every city conscious had their own aspect of the follows, and it broke down this way. When the thought arises in one's mind, it is only a surface manifestation of a very involved process of cognition, which is right thinking. The mind is composed of unconscious, subconscious, and conscious. Restates unconscious, subconscious, and consciousness. Watch this. So these three aspects, they relate to your awareness. Then there is also a process we call reasoning, and that is called the intellect. His name is Sa, S-A-A. Thus, and what they did, every aspect of how the brain works, they gave it a God, they gave it identity, they gave it something you can study and learn. That's the purpose, that's the concept. And thus, in the mystical terms, when a thought arises and is heard in your subconscious mind, 90% of what go on in your body is ran by your subconscious. If you can put it in your subconscious mind, you can make it happen. Whatever you can conceive, you can achieve. And that's Anu, meaning, and then it is repeated in your conscious mind. That's Ptah. That's the manifestation. Then it is approved by the intellect. That's Tahuti, aka that's the aspect of Ra's mind. He's the mind of God. And finally, it is sanctioned by your higher self, aka Amun. That's the casual. Where you go after those phases, the last place is Amun. That's how you find him. But there is a very profound teaching that's being expressed here in the last line of this utterance. The statement, the matter are answered in Waset, thieves. It refers to the idea that your soul, Amun, is the ultimate and the supreme dictator of that which occurs in creation, just as all souls of any enlightened person governs his thoughts and the intellect, Ra, as well as the actions of the mind and the body, Ptah. Thus, this symbolism is inherent in the was or the us, the UAS or the WAS. And was my we call it was with A with the long A. They use like the A, the O sound. So this is the was. So, but it's the scepter of meaning symbol of power and dominance, which many of all your ancient Egyptian god and goddesses and the pharaohs may be seen holding it, is composed of a straight staff with the head of a mythical animal. You know what that mystical animal is? Set. Watch this. Why? Set the ego, he was the strongest, baddest of all the gods. Physically, he was the one you ain't want to mess with. Watch this. And the mystical animal that's associated with the god Set. And a lot of people call him Set, S-E-T-H. That's them tacking on. Okay, now they done changed it. But Set, S-E-T, is the ego originally. And he was the bad man. Why? When he lost the fight against Haru, which is Spirit in me and you, only person he ever got defeated was Haru. Everybody else, he ripped them a new one. So he really bad against everybody else. He fights off Apophis. That's why he's the bad man. But he who represents egoism. And egoism is just you identifying with yourself. How you project your own egoism is up to every individual, and that's going to be the difference. And that's what you judge by at the end of your life. How did you live? Did the ego run you? Oh, a lot of people, the ego runs them. That's guaranteed way to work, reincarnate. But the ego Set represents egoism, evil, and ignorance. That's why he's not a good dude. As well as raw power, brute strength. That's his calling card, okay? So Set is that netter who symbolizes he's the necessary evil, egoistic tendencies of the human being. When you doing things for yourself, that's Set. When you want what you want, that's Set. When you want to be spoiled, pampered, taken care of, that's Set. When you want to be recognized, respect, all those are Setanian qualities that feeds your ego. And Set is the aspect of all human minds with impulses of what? Selfishness, greed, mischievousness, lust, boastfulness, arrogance, vanity, anger, indulgence in all sensual pleasures, undisciplined, impulsiveness, rude, etc. We can go on. That's all negative qualities of a person who's ego-driven. Those are all Satanic qualities. Okay, and then what the seven deadly says, yeah, it's way more than seven, but they try to give you a good understanding. But the definition of the name Set includes extroverted, emitting nature, pride, insolence, and according to Plutarch, the great Greek philosopher, Set is the name of one who is full of ignorance, full of himself, and errors, tears, and tears in pieces, and conceals that holy doctrine which the goddess Aset collects, compiles, and produces, and delivers to those who aspire after the most perfect participation of the divine nature, meaning you live in Maya. And egoism is produced by ignorance and error, which block wisdom and your spiritual experience with the divine. If you are ego driven, you ain't having God connection. That's the problem. That's the obstacle that keeps you from being what? Your best self, reaching your full potential as Haru. So if you can't conquer your ego self, they fought for 80 years. Okay? And Haru won out. So, and his job from that point on is to what? Work for Ra by fighting off of office every night for the rest of his life, for eternity. Remember, if you get judged by Ra, by God, that punishment is forever. As Geb and Nu, earth and heaven. At one time they were like this. Now they're like this. Forever. Alright, let me get this out the way. So the task of what? Supplementing, conquering, defeating, whatever you want to call your ego is embodied in all the Egyptian stories and myths of the battle between what? Haru, higher self, Horus to a few, and Set, which is I call the moral battle, the ethical battle of you doing right from wrong, you knowing right and doing what's right. Hold yourself accountable, and wrong has no rule. Set is a part of the Asarian resurrection mystery. He's the bad guy. He's the villain in every aspect. Yeah. So you see the book of Asarian resurrection. The brothers, it's the original Cain and Abel story. But the ancient Egyptian Bible, in the myth, again, we talking myth, not real. In the myth, Set, who represents egoism in your human being, acting out of what? Greed, jealousy, does what? Kills his brother, Asar, who represents what? The spirit, the soul that's in all of us, who represents the human soul. Yeah, I'm studying. And then tore his body into, some people say 72 pieces, 28 pieces, 14 pieces. 14 with the number. He got back 13 because the penis, the regeneration power was taken away. So she modified the first fake penis, aka dildo, and got pregnant. Okay, remember, this is a myth. Don't get caught up in, no, that's the story they tell you about Christ. I know, but we know as a myth. Y'all just think it real. It ain't happening. So, and due to this act, Horus, which is the son of Asar, he's born to do one thing, who represent spiritual aspiration, okay, and the victor over what? His lower self, his evil uncle, and righteousness, action, aka Maya. And he engages in a 80-year struggle against his evil uncle to redeem his father. Moving on, we ain't going there. I had a story about that, but I let it go. But in his life, his goal, he must redeem the I, the center of his power, which Set has one time stolen. Set is your lower nature, waist down. That means, you got two heads. One is up here, one is down there. The one up here has the conscience, has the brain, has the thought process. One down there, no conscience, so it don't care. If you let that run you, you're going to have problems. But, and it's your lower ego self, and it's continuously in conflict with what? Haru, your higher self. Until what? You put him in check. Put your foot on the neck, and he jump when you tell him to. He act when you tell him to. He ain't in charge of nothing. You got to make him know that. That's the whole purpose. Who also represents the rebirth of your soul or your higher self. As what? You represent the reincarnation of your father. Okay, the spirit of Asar. And after a long conflict, 80 years they say, going back and forth, Haru succeeds in controlling Set, his evil uncle, his ego part. Devil, get behind me. That's Set. You get behind me. I need you to watch my back. That's what you use him for, okay? To cover your six, as they tell you. All right. That's the best six cover you can have had. Why? He ain't gonna give up. He ain't gonna fight. Trust me. And when you get control of him, you did your job. Now he'll work for you. You own him. Okay, that's why the bully or the prison mentality, he who runs everything, he own you. Okay, when he run you, that's ownership. All right, but when you succeed over that, that means you risen your conscious level, and now you are controlled and set by what? Reconstructing the damage, and putting yourself together and taking control of your sexual energy, your desires of the flesh, everything that set represents. You take control of those things and you eradicate them from your personality. All those negative qualities, greed, lust, jealousy, you take them all out your character. Okay? So when this occurs, and when you do the work, that's what will occur. You, Haru, you now become the phallic, Amsu, men. That's the guy you see with the stiff penis. Okay? He represents sublimation of your sexual urges. He controls that. He don't go around poking and sticking it anywhere like y'all do. Man, woman, don't make a difference. Okay, so yeah, y'all got no control or no discipline over your sexual urges. That's what Haru represents. Gain control of that thing. Okay, put it in your pocket, put it in your pants, whatever, but control it. Don't let it control you. That's the whole part about the ego. I had to have a phrase back in the day when I was ego tripping. I'd say, kiss me on my ego. You know what that meant? Yeah, okay. And people I said it to didn't know that, but if they knew, they slapped my face because that's all for them to do me, hey, okay. But Horus, in the aspect of what? The overthrower, the conqueror of what? Your ego. That's the victory that Christ, all y'all talking about? Yeah, that's the same thing. We originated that. So that concept, I'm familiar with that. I understand it, but I see a lot of Christians fall way short. They talk a good one, but we did it as a society for thousands of years. I've been doing it for the last 20, and it's working miracles for me. I got a few who practice it, and I got another, I just got me a new student who want to practice my philosophy. Why? Because little advice I've been giving them, they've been practicing it. They said, oh, it works. Duh. So I appreciate them kind of students. All right? I love giving lessons in life that you can learn. So when you overthrow your moral enemy, which is of your father, which is set, you have done your job here in the flesh. You become the victorious one. You become Haru-er. Okay? Now, we're doing the symbols. Now, these are all Egyptian god and goddesses. Okay? This is, you can tell, the cow horn, the sun disk. If you see a house or a chair in there, that's Aset. Yeah, ISIS. Okay, I know, but it's all about the headdress. You know the headdress. His crown represents Upper and Lower Egypt. These two plumes, they represent Nephthah and Aset. That's the Caduceus. He's the male. He got two females. Immortality. That's Aset. Nephthah, excuse me. That's the sister. She got the inverted crown. Here you see, that's Ra in his glory, right there. Okay. No, that ain't right. That's Horus. Excuse me. That's Horus. I can say that the headgear. Horus wears the crown of Upper and Lower Egypt. That's a difference between him and his father. His father just rocking the crown right there, just the serpent, when the sun disk and the Uranus. This is set. Okay, he has all the unique qualities. He's one of a kind. He can't reproduce. This is Sarbat, Neph's son. He was a crocodile god. They represented him. This is Hathor. This is Tahuti. And this is Ra. And over here, my favorite, Ampu or Anubis. Y'all know him as. But those are all aspects of your character that we gave them identity so that you could study, learn, and understand it and implement with their qualities into your personality. I hope that's making sense. I just gave you a picture above, left to right. First was Asep, next was Asar, then Nephthah, then we had Haru, and Set. Those are the children of Nut and Gad. This is creation from our concept, okay? And each one of them represents the aspect of your character. Asar is your spirit, your soul. Aset, which is his wife, she represents your intuitive knowledge, your immortality as a god. And her sister, Nephthah, her twin, she represents the mortal aspect of humankind. Okay, you're born, you're going to die. They would mourn the death. Okay, that's what their job. And Haru is the offspring between Asar and Aset. He represents the spirit that's in me and you, aspirants. You want to be a better him, so he's the conqueror. And then you got Set, okay, the ego, the evil one. He wants what his brother got, okay. And ego always wants to covet. Somebody said one of the commandments, thou shalt not covet stuff. Yeah, that's what Set wants to covet, what ain't his, okay. That's why he did what he did. This is all symbolism that you can study, learn about their character, and then either implement it or don't. So the bottom I showed you, that stands for, you got Anubis, you got Ra, and you got Tahuti, and Hathor, and Sarbek. Sarbek is the crocodile god who they treated as a god, okay? But after the struggle between Haru and Set, this is you living up to the service of the soul. Set ends up servicing who? Ra, the spirit, soul. This is symbolized by the depiction of Set assisting the voice of the sacred barge in the duat of Ra as it transfers to the heavens. No, he ain't in the boat in the daytime. You don't need him. But when you go into the duat, he makes the call. You got to get everybody on board because you got to fight Apophis in the afterlife on the duat at the night. And he's attacked by the fiends of chaos, which is negative thoughts, wrong thinking, and negative feeling, and unrighteous actions. Those are all bad things. So you got to fight them off. And I use my ego to do just that with negative thoughts. I put him against himself. And he don't know that. He just fight off anything, negative thoughts, he take care of it. Okay, that's using him to your advantage. And watch this. Who were previously Set's accomplices. Set was supposed to be a bad guy. No. He just a little rough around the edges. Okay? But Set's energy is now transformed from raw sexuality where he's gonna do anybody, that stiff penis, I'm still conquered him. And to now your spiritual, from raw sexuality to spiritual ecstasy, becoming one with God, and he's placed as the servant of one soul. Now Set becomes the champion who fights against the forces of evil, aka Apophis, Apep, the real chaos, anger, hatred, greed, etc. He's fighting against his own qualities. That's what you got to do. Reverse it. He'll never know, but he'll keep them under control for you. So you have to do all that. And which is the past he himself represented. And watch this. There's several pictures showing that Haru and Set are aspects of the same being. I told you from the neck down, they're the same. Why? They occupy the same body. Okay? And both represent the conflicting aspects of one's human mind. You want to do you want to do what's right. I used to do me, following that guy. Now I do what's right. Nobody follows me. Moving on. But when your lower self, Set, that's him right there, is mastered, that's me now, okay, and placed, set in the service of your higher self, Haru, then your spiritual realization is assured. Why? Set is on your side. You ain't fighting him no more. You ever had them guys who you don't like them, like Dennis Rodman? Nobody liked them, but they want them on their side. You want to win? You want guys like that. That's how Set is, okay? So the same idea is conveyed in the Sphinx. Excuse me. It represents the embodiment of what? The initiatic idea, the infinite energy and your life force of nature is symbolized by what? Your animal body, the beastly body, and commanded by what? Your intuitive intellect, symbolized by what? The human head. I'm going to stop right there because I got more for you, but I'm going to take you right now. Okay, another deity which symbolizes the idea of sublimated your animal energies in man is the Neter Sabek. I want to get to him right here. He's the crocodile god. Crocodile, they had worshipped them, they mummified him, they had him in high esteem. Because Sabek is the crocodile god who, like Set, pay attention, symbolizes force of nature, brute force, and in the uncontrolled state. When Asar got torn to the pieces, and Sabek was in the Nile, he seen the body parts going by, he chomped them and ate them up. So another story. But the uncontrolled state, he was reckless. So Sawback is a dangerous beast who will kill all who cross his path. For that mistake in eating up a saw, they took his tongue out. He had no tongue. And in this aspect, he is associated with Set and as one of the fetters of your human being. Whenever you get forceful, masculine, yeah, you use power over logic. That was the guy you talk about. The berserkers, the Northmen. But in the tamed, supplemented mind of state, Sawback is a formidable ally. He the one that carried the rest of the body of Asar, okay? What they did find out, okay? But he carried Asar and in repulsing the forces of evil to help out what's good and right. So the pyramid text, Sawback assists in the overthrow of Set. Okay, he went against him. And like Anubis, who Set don't want to be messing with, okay, he assists the initiate you along your spiritual path and restore your spiritual eye, intuitional vision of the divine. Keep your eye on God. To the deceased initiate, your whole goal, your soul. Sawback represents spiritual energy, which when supplemented and controlled will allow you, the initiate, to succeed in your trials and tribulations of life. He gives you the strength to get through everything you need. Thus, Sawback can be seen carrying the mummified body of Asar and other times guarding his tomb, sitting on top of it. They showed a picture of it right here. Yeah, that's him sitting on guarding the tomb of Asar. Right there. See, a crocodile sitting on top of the tomb. That's him watching Asar's body. So that's how you show you. And all this is symbolism of how you and all the aspects of your character can build you. And we about done. Where we at? Yeah, I'm on this page over here. So, okay. So now, let's talk about the wasp. The wasp represents the energy which engenders life. When this energy is controlled, harnessed, now the ignorant ego, evil and negative activities, restlessness, mind agitation, and unrest are the results when the same energy is supplemented and controlled by the purified intellect and heart by putting in divine work can now be accomplished in the most effective and exalted manner. Thus, anybody who holds the wasp was in control of the source of power of their soul. They knew who they were. For the spiritually advanced and enlightened personality, this means having dominion over one's lower desires, physical pleasures, and passions of being free from the delusion of ignorance. You ain't falling for the okie doke. You know better. I'm not doing that. Okay? So in historical and political or even esoteric sense, this implies that being the pharaoh who resides in Waset. However, the esoteric symbolism implies that the possessor of the wasp is in communion with who? The higher supreme self of Waset, who is none other than, you ready? Amun, the divine self. Thus, the wasp scepter was the emblem of Waset, as well as the head ornament of the goddess who in the city itself, who was also known as Waset. This, stop right there because I got more information that's going to get a little more in depth. That could be the next lesson. But right thinkers, I'm giving you information that's going to help you think right. That's the goal, that's the purpose, and that's the lesson for now. So in closing, right thinkers, may you all live to be 100. Me, 100 miles a day. So I never know my right thinkers who now understand the 3 levels of consciousness and the symbolism of all the God and goddesses who passed away. I'll be back with